everybody. Desert Gold. Hold on a second here. Just finished up a few things, kicking back, having a cold one, and trying to pick out what I'm going to brew next. And I think I've come up with an option here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to brew up some zombie dirt. I like the description. It's got it's a little low on alcohol, coming in at about 6.5%, so I'm going to have to add some juice to it to get it to my area, but it's mainly all citra hops, which is a good aromatic citrus hop addition. So I'm liking the description on the flavor profile, and with a little extra alcohol boost, we should have what we need. We're not here to discuss that. Before I get started, this unfortunately is probably going to be a long one. It's going to be a description and hopefully a clarification on how to put one of these together. It's my solar generator and car survival kit. I think it turned out really well. We're going to see how it comes out, but as I said, it's a little bit involved, so it's going to take some time. I hope to keep it reasonable, but if you're on time constraints or into short videos, this isn't probably going to be the one for you, so just move on down the road, as they say. I don't know, last year, I don't know if you guys remember, I did my smaller kit. This also is a survival kit and solar generator, but more along the lines of a backpacking, a day type kit that you can throw into a day bag and go on a hike. If anything comes up, you're gonna have some basic essentials. You've got let's see if I can turn this down a little bit here. Just SOS food bar. You've got a solar blanket, food, water, battery bank. I want to say it's about let's see, 5. That's 3 pi. It's about 10 watt hours of energy stored in that little battery bank of 18650s. And then you have your solar controller and USB port to charge iPhones and whatnot. But I'm not going to get into that because we've already done that, been there and done it. So this is what we're going to talk about today. This is more of a car survival carry along. You could think of it as a car EDC if you want. Basically, you have a solar generator. This is a 12 volt, 3 watt monocrystalline solar panel. I've got it hooked up to Velcro on the top of the case, wired for basically you can either leave it attached to the case if it's going to be in a hot sun for a long period of time. You might want to just unwind the cord to keep the box in the shade and have the panel charging the battery bank. Basically what I did is I mounted a DC port on the side of the box. You just plug your solar panel into it like that, and you are good to go. Also mounted a meter on the top at, I don't know if you're going to see it in this light. Basically, you've got battery wattage. Right now it's sitting at 6.52 volts, and that's at 12 amp hours, I might add, so it's over 70 watt hours of energy stored in that little case. You're also going to get voltage or amps going out, and energy used, and amps per hour, or watts per hour I should say. Basically it's pretty straightforward. I'll open it up and we'll get into it. This I decided to go a little bit heavier since this is going to be mostly stored in the car and you're not going to be lugging it around here and there. So I went a little bit bigger on the case. Here's your battery bank. It's two 3.2 volt 12 amp hour batteries wired in series, so you get 6.4 at 12 amp hours is the rated power supply for, or the capacity for this system. I'm just going to start taking things out, and you can see what I've decided to include in this. Starting off, we've got the SOL solar blanket. I've got that attached to the lid. Basically, you've all seen solar blankets. In this, though, I've also included, I'm keeping 4 water purification tablets. And then I've also got, should have, I think I moved them over, we'll get to that later, first aid stuff. So we've got the solar blanket, also got a couple pair of hot hands. Even though I am in the desert during the winter time at night, we do get chilly out here, so these could come in handy in a situation where you are trying to keep the extremities warm. Got a couple of SOS food bars. These are high calorie protein, and actually there's quite a bit of fat in it, but that's going to be necessary in a survival situation. And they taste actually pretty damn good. I was surprised. So we get the food. Got a nice little, I forget which one this is. This is it's about 150 lumen. Nice little, very bright, easy to pack away. Runs on one CR123. Which I'm going to talk about again in a little bit. Here we have some of the first aids, a little boo-boo bag. You get sting relief, triple antibiotic, band-aids. You've got ibuprofen and Tylenol, so those are to take care of little minor issues. You've got the ubiquitous survival accoutrements. We've got nylon cordage, you've got the fire wicks, duct tape. You've got ferrocerium magnesium rod as a secondary source of starting a fire. You got some weatherproof matches. flexible saw. I got a titanium safety whistle. Really nice, small. This is by 4/7, and it really does function as advertised. Very light, obviously, easy to stow. The multi-tool that I chose is by Swiss Tech, and I really like this one. I mean, they figured out a way to make a nice little, I showed you this last year, but this one actually bears repeating. I mean, you've got folding arms that open out just like a lot of others that have pliers, or, you know, this is actually a multi-gripping. You've got a plier head. You also have, if you close it, you could use it to remove hex nuts. It's also got a wire cutter right in the base there. There's a number of other, you know, cable cutters. You've got you know, Phillips and flatheads on either side. Measuring, you can use marks on it to measure. So it's a very concise, small, out-of-the-way multi-tool, and I actually chose this one over a similar. Which one did I put in this one? Yeah, this is a Gerber. Nice. I mean, you know, there's no getting around it. Gerber's got quality going for it, and you can tell that the pliers are much more effective. It's just that the auxiliary tools, as far as any kind of, you know, you've got one knife blade, and then you've got one each, I think, on a flathead and a Phillips. So they left a lot to be, you know, desired as far as variations to things that you can do with it, and this packs away a lot easier. What else? We got the striker bar for the magnesium, you know, and ferrocerium. Little tweezers, easily, again, packed away. Got the small little fishing utensils. I don't know if I'm getting any of this in the camera, but hopefully I am. Another, this is one of those wallet utility tools. These are really nice, good sharp edge on one side, saw blade on another, you know, bottle opener. So, I mean, a small package, good quality steel. It serves its purpose, and it, as you can see, is very small and packs away very conveniently. You've got some sewing thread, some fine wire for snares, little button compass. This one doesn't seem to be too bad, it's almost accurate. These are some of my other additions. Here's some powdered magnesium, and then I also took some of the tinder wicks and impregnated them with magnesium, so these things light a lot quicker and burn a lot more efficiently and violently, I might add. I also got some aluminum foil, and what else did I get in there? Anything else in there? That should be about it. Pencil and papers in the back there. So a lot of little stuff packed in there. Doubled the water content, so we've got 2 8-ounce sealed waters. Got some wet fire. These are really good. These work very well in getting a fire started in any kind of weather. A much better option to a compass. It's a lot more accurate. Also, USB cable. We're going to get into this in a little bit. This is a blast match. I don't know if you've heard of them. Most people have. This is supposedly a one-handed fire starting system. With my hands and shaking this, it's not going to happen. But obviously, same kind of principle. You just hold down this button as you're pushing down on, on a surface, and the sparks ignite your tinder. So that's excellent. This will last forever, basically. It works, and that's the important part. Here we've got a filter straw. You just attach your straw to that, put it in the water, and you're off and drinking. With that, also I included a 32-ounce bag, water storage bag, and I forget who this is by. I'll put the link down at the bottom. They come in a package of 3. They're sealed, sterilized, and sealed when you get them. Obviously, this is no longer sterile, but if you need to gather water, this holds, like I said, 32 ounces. And when it's filled up, it stands by itself, which is also kind of convenient. So here's what we're going to get to is the solar generator part. Basically, what I did is I took these 2 batteries, as I mentioned, and I wired them into a PCM, which is a power control module, which is this. I don't know if you can see it. It's this right there. So basically, what you have is, it's also a balancing module. So lithium batteries, if you're not familiar with them, while they will charge in series, they might charge at a different rate individually. So this might have 3.2, this one might be sitting at 3. And what this board does is it reads the volume on each battery and then computes the charge that goes through each of these wires to the battery and balances them out. It also protects against over discharge and overcharge and reverse polarity. So that really functions as the brains for this charging system. So from here, basically all I did was ran a hot wire from the negative terminal there, and ran it up to the, I'm sorry, you say negative, it's a positive. Anyway, you ran it to, you have your load in on the meter, I'm sorry, power in on the meter and then load out. And which I wound up doing was ran the original hot wire to the switch. From the switch I ran to the battery in, and then battery out, completing the circuit. And that way it gives you a load on the meter as far as amps and watts being either used or coming in. So basically that works. Oh, here's a CRK. I always like to keep these in these kits too, because they're sharp, dependable. And oh, there's also I'm not going to dig it out. There's a Fresnel lens in there too for even another source of lighting a fire, or for old farts like myself, helping to read small print. Should have had it earlier, helping me. Anyway, on this outside, from the load out, we've got dual USB ports on this side. And as another addition, you'll notice I mounted a X-Tar UM10 charger on the back of this. If I get it out. Sticky little stuff. Anyway, so let's say you're out there, and the thing I like about the X-Tar is it will do 18650s, it will do CR123s, it will even do the new IMR batteries. So all you have to do is take your included cable that was in the box, and plug it into one of the USB ports on the outside. And it is on, so then we'll plug in the on the top of the X-Tar. You've got a micro USB. Plug it in, and you see that it's ready to go. So what we can do is, let's just take an 18650, and you can see, well, this one is kind of pretty much charged. I don't know if you can see it, but it's at 97% and it's charging. So let's say you are charging your battery and you realize that, oh man, my iPhone's going down. I need to charge this, but I don't want to take this battery off because it's almost done, and I just wanted to get it fully charged. So what you do, if you open up the bottom of the X-Tar, you'll see there's another USB. Take your iPhone cable and plug it in like such, and you can just close it up. And now you take your iPhone and plug that in, and now you're charging both at the same time through one port, still leaving another USB external port that you can even plug a laptop in or an iPad or whatever. So a lot more potential with this system than I had before. It is a little bigger, but again, this is what I'm considering something that you could carry in a car and leave it in the car. And every month or so, just stick it out in the sun for, hour or two and let it top off the battery bank, and you're off and running. So I know it's been kind of a piecemeal explanation, but basically it's pretty straightforward. Again, you just power out, run through the switch, load out, USB. And then again, if you're using lithium ion or lithium ferric ion batteries like these are, you're going to need a balance module, power control module, and you're good to go. It's oh, I didn't mention that the solar port that I plug into runs right to these two pins right here. So you get the power coming in, it goes through the board, reads what each of the batteries need, and then out to the circuit. Works great. Other than that, if there's any questions, I know I was kind of all over the place with this, but we'll see how it turns out. And until then, I hope I didn't bore you if you're still around. Everybody have fun, be safe. Desert Gold out.